So tell me a little bit about Punch. How'd you two guys meet?
Well, I met because I found a record of his. And the one he did at Preservation Hall about 1961.
Okay, we have to go around.
We have to go around left here, Stevens.
That's all right. Make a left on Cottage Grove. I think that's where we're going to be at.
Where these people are going.
Yeah. So you were living in New Orleans at the time, right?
No, I before I even knew where New Orleans was.
Oh, where were you at the time?
I was in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So I discovered the record, and then I kept. My parents went to out west, and I got off at New Orleans. Stayed at the YMCA, went down to Preservation Hall on a Sunday, and he happened to be there.
Who was in the group?
Charlie Hamilton, Slow Drag.
So this what year again?
Oh, that must have been when I first went to New Orleans. It was 1968.
68. So he was. So you knew him for about 3 years then.
Yeah, well, I didn't stay. I only stayed a week.
Oh, okay.
Because I was hitching a ride with my parents who were going to San Antonio.
Okay.
So I got off there and I was able to find things. I stayed at the YMCA, and then they picked me up, I think, after that week. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Did you talk to him that first time?
Yeah, the first time I went to Preservation Hall, I paid my $1 to get in. I was there early. I sat on my knees on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the first row. And I mean, I didn't move for 4 hours, even during his break. I could barely stand up. And I didn't talk to him at all until the very end. And I said, you know, I'm a trumpet player too. And he started laughing. Because I was staring at him all the night, you know.
He was
looking
laughing
at everything he did.
Yeah. What did he say to that?
And he said, we made arrangements to meet the next day at the hall, you know, and because I said, you know, would you help me? And he was willing to do that.
Huh.
So I met him there, and he said, what do you want to learn? Well, I said, I'd like to learn how to play Mac the Knife. So he said, do you know it? And I said, yeah, I know a little bit. And I started out in B flat, and he stopped me right there. He said, no, you play it in C. Not B flat.
Really? Why C?
Because that was the written key for it.
Oh, I find that interesting. I like playing in C.
Yeah, I mean, he, well, you know, B flat would be an easier key for a trumpet player. So he wanted me not to take any shortcuts.
Oh, he didn't want you to take the easy way.
No easy way.
So what are the standard keys for a trumpet player? The usual keys?
Well, most of them are just the flat keys, like E flat, D flat, B flat, and then F.
It's normally in flat.
Yeah, then you play in C and G sometimes. I mean, that's what things that he was doing. And for the songs that he showed me, that's where the keys were.
Huh.
Because he would use the standard key. And when he taught me Stardust and Body and Soul, that was D flat. So I assumed that was the written key.
He liked to stay according to the written keys?
Well, he did. It makes sense to communicate with people, you know.
Oh, so they don't have to adapt to him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a singer, you know, a girl singer, usually like a fourth up. But it's pretty well established that, you know, if you're in those written keys, they're within the staff. You know, so they're singable for male singers, and they're not so high for trumpet players.
It's interesting.
That's the way I learned it from him.
Huh. It's interesting. The tunes are the sheet music's mainly written for vocalists.
Well, it depends if it's a female vocalist or a male baritone. You know, it's a whole different thing. Like if you play Sunny Side of the Street, the standard key is C. But if you're playing with a female vocalist, what's that?
Lightning.
Oh. Then they're gonna want to play it in F, you know, or somewhere around there.
Huh.
Which is pretty difficult for a trumpet player to make that interval nicely.
So he has you playing Mac the Knife in C.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that was the first one I wanted to learn.
Why'd you want that one?
I must have heard it somewhere. I must have heard Louis do it or something.
That makes sense. Did he talk about Louis doing that?
No, he talked about Louis in Chicago here. And he told me Louis gave him a horn. You know, I forget the brand name, but he still had it. And he told me Louis gave him Chicago when Louis went to New York.
Huh. So when you started playing for him, what did he say?
Well, he was, I was kind of like the star pupil because I picked up everything so fast. And I would tape things, and I would take it home, you know, and I would ride the bus home, and I would listen. So by the time I got home, I pretty much knew the lesson.
Did that impress him?
Yeah, he was impressed because at that time too, I was very loud and I didn't have any control at all. So he kept saying, "Well, you're pretty powerful."
Huh. So how long did he work with you?
Well, until he died in 1971.
Wow, so you were there 3 years.
Yeah, I went to live there
Whoa.
in 1969.
Yeah.
But he wasn't always in town, you know, he would go out on tours. And I'd see him when he got back.
So what would he teach you musically? I mean, what kind of advice would he give?
Well, it was mostly songs, you know, and he would write things out for me, songs that he had composed, or composed just for me. He'd write out the lead for me, and then he'd write out a second part for him. So we'd play it together. You know, I could read most of the things he wrote out, and it gave me a false sense of security because I still am not a good reader. But yeah, I would hear him play it first, see, and then I probably cheated that way by listening.
Do you have anything?
He was into harmony, you know, and that kind of thing. So I became interested in that too. And he told me about Buddy Petit, who was not a technical or strong trumpet player and had no range of at all, and so he depended more on chords and playing variations and things like that. He taught me the way Buddy Petit played High Society, which was the second part, whoever was playing first.
How would that go?
Or something like that.
That'd be the second part, right?
Yeah, Buddy Petit played the second part.
Buddy Petit would be his idol then, you say?
Yeah. He liked Chris Kelly too.
He must have had a good memory, because none of those guys recorded.
Yeah, I think he did have a good memory.
Did you guys record it all?
Well, I recorded with my own machine every time I meet him, and now I can't find the tapes.
Oh.
And they've been recorded over again, and Lars Edegran put them on reel-to-reel for me, but years took their toll on that, and they disintegrated. So
So how would you rate his playing at that time?
Well, mostly he was all right. He had trouble with his lip because he had a tit on from playing so long, and that would get in the mouthpiece. And so somebody had given me a 7C block mouthpiece, and I never could play it, so I gave it to him, and he seemed to like it. And then he moved his mouthpiece slightly off that tit to, I think, the right side, and that helped his playing a lot. And you can hear in some of those early 60 records where some of the notes come out as like that, because of that part of his lip that was in the mouthpiece. But once he corrected that, it was fine. I mean, he would demonstrate West End blues for me, and he hit that high D right on the head. So he had a lot of range and strength that he wasn't always demonstrating at the hall.